Good evening, everyone. Why don't we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Here.
Trustee Rocco?
Here.
Trustee Sheehan?
Here.
Trustee Casera?
Here.
Trustee Lautner?
Here.
Trustee Zora?
Here.
President DeCipio?
Here.
Quorum is present.
Thank you, Amanda. Next on the agenda is public participation of agenda-related items only, if anyone would care to address the board. Moving on, consent agenda. Amanda?
The items on the consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes, Village Board meeting, March 27th, 2018. Executive session, March 27th, 2018. Work session meeting, April 10th, 2018. B, action zoning application number 2018-01, 1246 Ostrander variation. Motion to approve an ordinance granting a variation for 1246 Ostrander, LaGrange Park, Illinois. Public hearing 2018-01. C, action zoning application 2018-02, accessory retail uses. Motion to approve an ordinance amending the LaGrange Park zoning code as amended. D, action 2018 Harding Avenue resurfacing project, Edwin Hancock Construction Engineering Agreement. Motion authorizing the village manager to execute an agreement between the Village of LaGrange Park and Hancock Engineering for construction engineering services for the Harding Avenue resurfacing project in an amount not to exceed $115,500 to be spent during the FY 18-19 fiscal year. E, action resolution approving fiscal year 2018-19 pay plan. Motion to approve a resolution approving pay plan and schedule of authorized positions for fiscal year 2018-19. F, action fraud policy. Motion to approve a resolution establishing the village's fraud policy. G, action fiscal year 2018 audit services. Motion to approve BKD LLP to perform the required annual audit of the village's financial statements for fiscal year 2018 in the amount of $24,250 and authorize the village manager to sign the agreement. H, action motion to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of operating bills and salaries is itemized in the check register. I motion to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and May 22nd, 2018, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its regular meeting to be held on May 22nd, 2018.
Thank you, Amanda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And again, thank you, Amanda. Moving on next, village manager's report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, I have just 3 quick items to report upon this evening. The first is one that you already all know, but I'm just noting again for the record, we have a cancellation of our strategic planning session for tomorrow night. Staff is working with the speaker to reschedule that meeting for May, and so we will keep you posted. The second item to report is that staff is working on the agenda and for the drive down with the West Central Municipal Conference. Sandy from the administration department is working to confirm the RSVPs in meeting with our legislators. And the third item I'd like to report on is many of you know that our email server is currently down. It is not functioning. We are working with our IT professionals, AIS, right now to try and isolate what the issue is related to our email server. So we can continue to communicate effectively. We do have a note posted to the village's website letting folks know that our email server is currently down. So we will keep you posted on the progress of the email server. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. Administration Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening I have 3 items to report on. First is regarding the Community Volunteer Day that's upcoming. The village is pleased to announce that it's scheduled the annual Community Volunteer Day for Saturday, May 5th through from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. During the event, community volunteers provide assistance to seniors in the community who need help with basic lawn care and spring cleanup chores. Village residents who are interested in volunteering are encouraged to get involved with this worthwhile project. Residents in need of assistance are encouraged to contact Village Hall. To volunteer or to request assistance, call the Village Hall at 354-0225 or email Sandy McCollege at lagrangepark.org. Second item is regarding our upcoming National Drug Take-Back Day. The LaGrange Park Police Department, in coordination with the DEA, will host a National Drug Take-Back Day on Saturday, April 28th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This program offers a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of unwanted or expired medications. And please note, only drugs in pill form will be accepted, no liquids at all. Please empty all drugs from their original containers, bottles, or blister packs and place in a sealed baggie for drop-off. Can't make it April 28th? A permanent drop box is located in the Village Hall lobby with drop-off access during regular business hours of 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And the last item is regarding our Youth Commission. The village is accepting applications from interested teens to serve on the village's Youth Commission. The Youth Commission is comprised of 10 young people in grades 7 through 12. Commissioners serve 1- or 2-year terms beginning September of each year. Individuals interested in serving must complete an application and send to the village no later than June 30th. For more information on this program, please visit the village website, www.lagrangepark.org, or call the Village Hall. And that completes my report from the administration area.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report the building department activities for March of 2018. 121 building permits were issued in March compared to 74 last March. This can be attributed to issuing 43 permits related to renovating homestead apartment laundry rooms. The village has issued 183 permits through the end of March compared to 129 at the end of March 2017. Estimated construction costs for the month were nearly double, over $2 million for the month compared to 2017. Permit fees collected this March were also nearly double compared to March of 2017. This March, we collected nearly $74,000 in permit fees compared to just over $37,000 last March. This is mostly due to the issuance of permits for the homestead apartments, laundry rooms, the Dollar Tree, and 2 residential additions. 115 inspections were conducted in March compared to 156 last March. Commercial alteration permit for the Dollar Tree was issued and work is underway. The deadline to finish the work has been moved up as corporate would like to have the store open earlier than initially planned. The new NLN antennas located at the Barnsdale Water Tower were issued this month. A commercial alteration permit was issued for the interior work at PNC Bank. The project is mostly cosmetic, but with some first floor office layout changes. The concrete portion of the rear parking lot for the new restaurant on 31st Street was completed at the end of March. Work continues. Work continues at the CSJ project with interior demo taking place in the 6-story building. Staff has been working with CSJ and contractors on various matters related to the project, including safety measures and emergency exiting requirements, especially for the chapel and dining hall. The court case has been closed in relation to property maintenance violations at the home of 800 block of Beach, with confirmation of the outstanding fines being paid. The village has been advised that the home owned by HUD but purchased by a bank should be on the market in the near future. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Engineering Capital Projects Committee, Trustee Casera.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask if I can have another trustee read that.
Certainly. Who's on that? Who's your second on the committee? Do you know? I'm sorry?
Patty.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reports, executed contracts, bonds, and insurance documents for the village's 2018 paving program were received from K5 Construction Corporation. Construction will begin in mid-April. All major construction activities in front of the schools will be performed between mid-June and mid-August to minimize the interference with their operations. Completion of all work on the project is expected by late fall. Suburban General Construction has completed the repairs identified in the 2018 sewer repair project well ahead of the 2018 street paving program. The final pavement restoration for the repairs will be performed as part of the paving program. On March 19th, a pre-construction meeting for the Harding Avenue project was held at the Illinois Department of Transportation IDOT offices in Schaumburg. During this meeting, the contractor Arrow Road Construction presented a construction schedule for IDOT review and approval identifying a mid-April start. The key construction elements of this project should be completed by the end of July. Landscape restoration may need to wait until weather conditions moderate in the early fall. There's no action items. That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Rocco. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Messick.
Thank you, Mr. President. We'll start with police activities for March of this year. Total crimes reported are slightly lower from last year, with 40 incidents reported through March of 2018 compared to 47 through the same time frame of the previous year. Traffic enforcement is at 1,525 total tickets issued through March of this year compared to 1,582 through the same time frame last year. Overall police activity is at 2,615 incidents through March compared to 2,701 through the same time frame last year. Probationary police officer Aaron Hansen has properly completed all testing phases in which to be eligible for representation as a LaGrange Park PD officer at the next Cook County Sheriff's Police Training Academy class to begin Monday, May 7th at Triton College. Ms. Hansen is 29 years of age, presently resides in Tinley Park with her 2 young children, ages 5 and 8. She's a graduate of St. Xavier University in Chicago with a bachelor's degree in nursing. Erin was previously employed as a nurse in the emergency department at Loyola Hospital. Her goal in life was to become a certified police officer, and based on her previous background, will be a true asset to the department. We would like to formally welcome Officer Aaron Hansen to the LaGrange Park PD team. On Saturday, April 28th, the police department, in association with the Cook County Division of the DEA, is hosting the Drug Take-Back program, as previously mentioned, from 10 to 2 in the lobby area of Village Hall. Please make sure the only pills being dropped off in a zip-locked baggie with no original containers. Reminder, always lock your vehicles, garages, and houses when you are not around. Also keep valuables secured and out of sight at all times. Thieves take advantage of crimes of opportunity. And that concludes the police department report. On to fire. EMS incidents this month were 143. There have been 409 year-to-date compared to 440 year-to-date in 2017. Fire rescue incidents this month were 42. There have been 112 year-to-date with the same, which is the same as last year. I'm pleased to announce that Mike Hughes has been selected as our 2017 Firefighter of the Year through an awards program sponsored by the Brookfield-LaGrange Park Lions Club. As you are aware, the new Quint aerial ladder truck was delivered on Saturday, March 10th. Personnel are hard at work preparing to place the vehicle in service with mounting equipment and training. During the month, annual inspection and maintenance of all our hydraulic rescue tools took place. During the month, we responded twice in the same day to assist Westchester with fires, one at a church in the afternoon and one at night involving a townhome. Personnel once again participated this month in a rescue task force training with other fire and law enforcement agencies at a middle school in a neighboring community. Personnel once again participated this month in a rescue task, had been collecting books for the children's area of LaGrange ER, and during the month were able to meet with the new EMS coordinator at the hospital to deliver them. We received a letter this month from Dr. Mark C. Sean of the Loyola EMS system recognizing paramedics Sandy Gajeski, Matt Scott, Brian Whitman, and EMT Kevin Volchek-Mon for the excellent pre-hospital care they provided to a resident during an ambulance call. They recognized the need for the patient to get immediate care at the closest stroke facility, and as the patient's condition quickly deteriorated, they provided aggressive advanced life support care, further assisting hospital staff with resuscitative measures. They will be formally recognized at a recognition event during EMS Week in May, and that's a job well done. On Monday morning, March 19th at 4:54 a.m., the fire department responded to a house fire at 540 North Stone. The fire was discovered by police, and although it was initially reported to be a small fire on the front porch, upon making entry, firefighters quickly discovered substantial fire within the structure. As firefighters crawled into the living room area with a hose line, they were somewhat hampered when they discovered a large hole that had burnt completely through the living room floor, and thankfully they discovered this early on and no one was injured. Also, upon searching, they discovered the house was unoccupied at the time and it was being renovated by the homeowner who had not yet moved in. That's good work by all of our public safety. And that concludes the public safety report. There are no action items.
Thank you, Trustee Messick. Public Works Committee, Trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tree maintenance, trimming, and inspections were performed during 24 regular hours. 2 diseased trees were removed by Public Works staff. 93 regular hours were spent on the maintenance of Public Works equipment and vehicles. 166 hours were spent filling potholes and patching water excavations, with approximately 20 tons of asphalt being used. Street sweeping continued as the weather permitted, spending 59 daytime hours. 142 miles of village roadways were swept, collecting approximately 34 yards of debris. 292 day shift hours were spent on building and grounds maintenance around Public Works facility, Village Hall, and along 31st Street. Included in this section was the renovation of the police department bathrooms. Zoning variance signs were hung along the Grange Road, notifying residents of the possible change. Employees attended training seminars, including water, sewer, and chainsaw safety and maintenance. Work orders were completed with crews removing roadkill, making sign repairs, and attending to resident concerns. Water department operations, over 319 and a half day shift hours and 44 and a quarter overtime man hours for the month of March were spent on maintenance and repair of sewer and water mains. 29,490,000 gallons of water were purchased from the Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission. 1,333 water meters were read in Section 3. 53 monthly accounts and 15 final meter readings were taken. Various inspections, appointments, and service calls were performed. 3 water and sewer inspections, 15 meter appointments, and 21 service calls were performed. 15 water bacterial samples were taken. 102 utility locations were identified prior to excavations. 1 water main was repaired. 1 water service line was repaired. 1 hydrant modification kit was completed. 2 valve boxes were repaired, and 3 water shutoffs were performed. I have 2 action items, Mr. President. First is the Water Tower Safety Improvement Bid Award. Last year, the village hired Preferred Tank and Tower to inspect the water tower and recommend maintenance and safety improvements. As a result, the Village of LaGrange Park sought bids to complete the following work: furnish and install tank grounding, clean around anchor bolts and weld around the circumference of the bolt to nut and nut to base connection to reinforce, furnish and install confined space entry, fall protection equipment, required signage and homeland security signs in the tank, furnish and install standoff on existing overflow on 10-foot centers, furnish and install flapper valve on existing overflow, adjust the windage rod and riser stay rods to withstand 100-mile-per-hour winds, reinforce the strut ends by welding after adjusting windage and stay rods, furnish and install an intermediate rail on existing catwalk level handrail, retension the existing safety climb device on exterior roof access ladder. The bid document was prepared by Hancock Engineering, distributed to companies qualified to perform the work. Bids were opened on Tuesday, April 17th, and MW Cole Construction is the low bid at $36,320. A second bid was received from Pittsburgh Tank and Tower in the amount of $59,580. Mr. President, therefore, I move to a motion to award a contract to MW Cole Construction in the amount of $36,320 plus a 10% contingency for unforeseen conditions.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan.
And it's safety work that's required for the tower. It'll bring us up to code. I favor this.
Trustee Rocco.
I was just curious because that seemed like I know it's It was 36,000 versus 52,000, kind of a discrepancy for everybody because it's under 100, like percentage-wise. Is there a reason for that? It seemed like a large discrepancy.
I think the biggest factors, one is like a nationwide, very large tank company, and the other one is a smaller regional one that are more local, so they are more competitive in their pricing.
Okay, but that's usually local. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a small town in Illinois that I never heard of, right, Brandon?
Yes.
Any other comments from the board? Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next we have utility work for 1201 Barnesdale Road. Village is resurfacing Barnesdale Road north of 31st Street this summer. At the same time, 1201 Barnesdale has been purchased and renovations to the building are in the works. Those changes to the building were discussed with the property owners, and they have agreed that it would benefit to have a new water service and combined sewer lateral stubbed out before the road is resurfaced. To expedite the water and sewer work, the village defined the scope of work and sought 3 quotes from qualified contractors. The property owners have committed to reimburse the cost of this work. Prior to the work occurring, the property owners will be required to provide a commitment letter authorizing the village to have the work performed on their behalf and committing to reimburse the village. The scope of work was prepared by Hancock Engineering in coordination with Public Works. 3 experienced contractors were invited. We also will have an existing 6-inch water main retired, as once the water service is transferred over, that 6-inch shall no longer serve a purpose. Contractors met on site Tuesday and bids were received on Thursday. They are as follow. Suburban General, $24,455. I have a correction on, we'll be taking $2,485 off. The village will be eating that cost to do the public improvement to retire that main. So when I read the motion to accept the lowest bid from Suburban General will be in the amount of $21,970, and to authorize the village to proceed with the work subject to a commitment letter from the owners of 1201 Barnesdale, authorizing work to their benefit to be reimbursed by the village.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
No, Mr. President, it's a good public improvement. It's probably saves Brendan a call out from a split main or something in the future and having to disturb a beautiful new road that's forthcoming, so.
I agree. I think it's great that this is getting done, you know, before the road's being done, because it's nothing worse than when you see a road just paved and they gotta dig in.
Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
That concludes Public Works, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Finance Committee, Trustee Rocco?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a report and I have 3 action items. The report, so we are completed 11 months or 92% of the fiscal year 2018, which began May 1st and runs through April 30th of this year. Fiscal year-to-date general fund revenue is at 95% of the annual budget and about 88% lower than last year. Property tax receipts are lower than last year by about $53,500 due to refunds of prior year taxes. Sales tax revenue is up 1% this year, while telecommunication taxes are down by 10%. Permit revenue is about 11% below last year, but at 126% to budget. Intergovernmental revenue is down about 1%, primarily due to lower income tax receipts as a result of the deductions included in the state budget. Charges for services are up about 7% due to increased ambulance fee revenue. Fine revenue is about 10% lower than last year and at 85% to budget. Outstanding tickets have recently been sent to the state's debt recovery program, which should result in increased receipts later in this year. Miscellaneous revenue is up about 27%, due primarily to an increase in payment in lieu of taxes. Interest and tower lease revenues have also increased. Total general fund expenditures are within expectations at 85% of the annual budget and about $100,000 above last year. The increase is primarily due to the new LTAC annual contribution, which is paid on a quarterly basis beginning in May from the police and fire department budgets and increased fire personnel cost. That concludes my report, and I have 3 action items, Mr. President. And thank you for your patience, and thank you, Brendan, for lending me your computer. I left my laptop at home. So the first action item is water and sewer rate ordinance. We're considering approving a water and sewer rate ordinance this evening. The background, Baxter and Woodman completed a water and sewer rate study for the village in 2017. The purpose of the study was to review the long-term operation and infrastructure requirements of the village's water and sewer systems and provide rate options that will provide the necessary funding. Baxter and Woodman presented the study results to the village board at the July 25th meeting, and the board discussed the rate alternatives at the August 8th work session. Following the work session discussion, the board indicated support for the alternate A rate option, which provides for sufficient funding to maintain and replace current water and sewer infrastructure on a pay-as-you-go basis. At the September 12th work session, the village board directed staff to prepare a plan to communicate the rate study to residents. Since then, the village has included articles and infographic in the Rose Clippings newsletter, sent out recurring e-briefs articles, and posted rate study information on the village's website. The fiscal year 2018-19 water fund and sewer fund budgets were prepared based on the alternate A rate plan included in the rate study. The alternate A rate plan increased the village's water rate from $7.71 to $10 per 100 cubic feet and increases the village's sewer rate from $2.32 to $2.75 per 100 feet. The quarterly combined water and sewer bill for the typical residential usage of 1,400 cubic feet will increase $38.08 from $140.42 to $178.50. The minimum quarterly water and sewer bill based on 600 cubic feet will increase $16.32 to from $16.18 to $76.50. Staff has prepared an ordinance to increase the water and sewer rates effectively June 28, 2018, as proposed by the alternate A option of the rate study. The rate increases would coincide with the City of Chicago and Brookfield North Riverside Water Commission rate increase schedules. The village board reviewed and discussed the ordinance at the April 10th work session. Following discussion, there was consensus to place this ordinance on tonight's agenda for approval. I move to amend the Village of LaGrange Park Municipal Code establishing water and sewer rates as indicated.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Rocco?
So, this really was the best option because this is the option that at least keeps us, there was a couple of options. We had one, we could have even increased the sewer rates more and maybe gotten a little more progressive with our infrastructure. But what this is getting us what we need. And what's nice about it is a pay-as-you-go, so we're not borrowing money. We're making sure that we're providing the money. And I think the first year we're going to see, you can see from the chart how the rate study, and you can see from the Rose Clippings, because it's been out or on the website, how the increase is going to work over the next several years. Each year we're going forward with that year's increase, that's what we're doing right now for this year. It makes sense. It's a pay-as-you-go basis. It's fiscally responsible, and I support it.
Thank you, Trustee Rocco. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a couple comments that, as everyone agrees, this is really a critical project to maintain the quality and safety of our water and sewer in the village. And while the rates are quite hefty, there's no question about that. I'd like to commend the staff for focusing on the reasons behind this, the focus on the infrastructure enhancements, as well as the water and sewer facility that's provided as part of this, and with an encouragement of continuation of that, I'll say, that explanation campaign to the village, because it will become very substantial for our residents, but I think it will be very important to continue making that information available to the village as to why we're doing this.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Trustee Messick?
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't want to repeat anything other trustees have said, other than I urge anybody who hasn't seen it to look at the water study that's available. Nobody likes raising rates, especially in this state and at this time, but it's something that's necessary to maintain safety and cleanliness and all the above. We have some water mains that are 100 years old. So unfortunately, we have to do it, but the key thing to me is not taking on debt. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Messick. Any other comments? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. And the second item up for action, well, actually, there's 2 items in this one, and that's to approve the fiscal year 2018 budget, and then we'll be moving to approve the 19 through 23 5-year plan. So this, we got a background on the Finance Committee. We met on March 13th and April 10th to review the draft budget and the 5-year plan. At the April 10th work session, the Finance Committee provided an overview of the following modifications of the proposed budget outlined below. And you can see in the chart, I don't know if it's necessary to go into the details. We went through this at the work session. But it does talk about the different changes in it. We had the water tower safety upgrades, changing some of the increase from 20,000 to 50,000. We added 16,225 for projected expenditures for fire equipment. That was because we were getting a grant, and so it only made sense to move forward so we could take advantage of the grant. But then, of course, we had to, match a certain amount in order to achieve the grant. Then we also just updated the pie chart, breaking out the pie chart to separate, and the supplies, the cost of water was included in the supplies. So when you looked at it on this pie chart, it looked like the village was spending an inordinate amount, crazy amount on supplies, when actually the vast majority of it was towards water, and then it makes sense. And then the final thing was for the information technology. We just wanted some updated on descriptions. So that was also great detail, and we had Village Manager Julia Sadeo had done an excellent job presenting all these at the presentation on April 10th. The draft, also the draft fiscal year 1923 5-year plan was amended to align with these changes, and also as discussed at the April 10th work session, the Finance Committee further recommended that the 5-year plan update the integrate and recommended water and sewer rates set forth in the 2017 water sewer infrastructure and rate study. And that goes to what I was speaking of earlier regarding that this water and sewer rate study, we're going to see increases over the next 5 years. And we just thought that would be good to incorporate that also in the 5-year plan, because our expectations is to move forward that each year, although it will be voted on each year. So there was a public hearing on April 10th, as I stated, and Julia Sadeo did an excellent job. I just lost my spot there. The village board discussed the proposed budget at the April 10th work session, and tonight we're anticipating that we can move forward. So the first motion is I move to approve a resolution approving the fiscal year 2018-19 operating budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion, Trustee Rocco?
I think we've done great, like I said, Julia Sadeo did an excellent presentation on it. All the information is online. We did do work through the budget, and thank you so much for the Finance Committee, and thank you to our village manager and to all our directors who worked so hard to put together an excellent budget. Once again, fiscally responsible budget. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And then the next motion is I move to approve the 5-year plan fiscal year 2018-19 through 2022-2023.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion, Trustee Rocco?
Once again, thank you for all the hard efforts. It speaks for itself. It's nice to have that 5-year plan. It's not necessarily, it's really just something to look forward to in terms of what we want to strive for in the next 5 years. And hopefully we'll be able to achieve many of those goals.
Seeing no other comments, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, the last item we have is for the amending the fiscal year 2017-18 budget, which every year we do this. The village policy requires that the village board amend the annual budget if the total expenditures for a department or fund will exceed the approved budget. State statutes authorizes the village to revise the budget by 2/3 vote. The following amendments are proposed. The general fund fire department budget requires a $25,000 increase due to higher than anticipated vehicle repair cost. The water fund administration budget requires an $8,000 increase for the village hall boiler project that was carried over from the prior year. The transfer to risk management fund budget requires an $8,000 increase due to higher than anticipated IRMA reserves in this fund in the prior fiscal year. Both increases are offset by an equal reduction in the budget for the water purchased and the distribution budget, resulting in no net change to the water fund budget. The capital projects fund budget requires a $15,000 increase for the village hall boiler project that was carried over from the prior year, and a $17,000 increase for the village's share of the FEMO radio grant for the fire department. The emergency telephone fund requires an increase of $34,000 to transfer the remaining funds to the LTAC Consolidated Dispatch Center. The 31st Barnesdale Tax Increment Financing, TIP, and the Business District BD funds require amendments of $107,500 and $102,500 respectively for the water and sewer infrastructure projects approved by the village board as part of the restaurant development agreement. The village board discussed the amendments at the April 10th work session. There was consensus to approve the attached resolution. Staff recommends the village approve the resolution of the April 24th work session. I move to approve a resolution amending the fiscal year 2017-2018 budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Trustee Rocco?
Thank you, Mr. President. I think it's worth taking a look at the packet. It just makes it a little easier to see the breakdown of the actual dollar amounts in one chart. This year's unusually high with the TIF and with the last two of the 100 improvements, the 107, 102,000 for the water sewer infrastructure projects. But we knew that was coming because, as you know, last year, that's when we approved TIF and we approved the business district. So, of course, then we're moving forward with that, and with that, it's going to have an impact on the budget. And as we know, we need our budget to balance.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Rocco. And to not belabor, but we understand every year this is an annual, obviously, the budget event, and it's a huge undertaking for our staff. And Julia and Emily and Larry and all the department heads, kudos to the great work and the explanation to the board, and also to Trustee Rocco for heading up the Finance Committee and doing such a great job in bringing it forward. Thank you. Commercial Revitalization Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. This month, village staff meet with the new owners of 1201 Barnesdale to discuss the provisions of a tax increment financing and/or business development district incentive agreement. The village also discussed the timing of necessary infrastructure improvements as it relates to the planned repaving of Barnesdale Road. Staff also met this month with the local developer, Kensington Development Partners, regarding the potential redevelopment of the former Pancake House property. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Other reports, Village Clerk,
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
our Village Treasurer, our Village Engineer, our Village Attorney.
No report, Mr. President.
Motion to approve Committee and Collectors reports.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a couple items, couple proclamations that I'd like to read. First is Arbor Day. Whereas in 1872, Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. Whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was the first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. Whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for the wildlife. Whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. Whereas trees in the Grange Park increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of the business areas, and beautify our community. Whereas the Village of LaGrange Park has been designated a Tree City USA for 31 years by the National Arbor Day Foundation. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal, therefore be it proclaimed, the Village of LaGrange Park proclaims Friday, April 27th as Arbor Day. The next proclamation is Building Safety Month, May. Whereas the Village of LaGrange Park is committed to recognizing our growth and strength depends on the safety and economic values of the homes, buildings, and infrastructures that serve our citizens both in everyday life and in times of natural disaster. Whereas the Village of LaGrange Park Building Department issued nearly 950 building permits and conducted nearly 1,600 inspections over the last calendar year. Whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown guardians of public safety, our local code officials, who assure us of safe, efficient, and livable buildings that are essential to keep America safe. Whereas our confidence in the structural integrity of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, and other in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safety or the safe construction of buildings. Whereas building codes save lives, the theme for Building Safety Month 2018, encourages all Americans to raise awareness of the importance of building safety and resilient construction, fire prevention, disaster mitigation, and new technologies in the construction industry. Building Safety Month 2018 encourages appropriate steps everyone can take to ensure that the places where we live, learn, work, worship, and play are safe, and recognizes that countless lives have been saved due to the implementation of safety codes by local and state agencies. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Village of LaGrange Park proclaims May 2018 as Building Safety Month. And the final proclamation is Municipal Clerks Week. Kudos to Amanda. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world. Whereas the office of municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides a professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels. Whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. Whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community. Whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. Whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Village of LaGrange Park hereby declares May 6th through May 12th Municipal Clerks Week. And we are so blessed in the Village of LaGrange Park to have Amanda as our municipal clerk. Thank you, Amanda. Moving on. Public participation of non-agenda related items. If anyone would care to address the board, and I think that's why you're here tonight, please step up to the mic and give us your name and address.
Hi, Mary Ann Porcelli, 711 North LaGrange Road. Thank you so much to the board for putting in the application for the zoning board and the zoning change. Emily, thank you for always taking my phone calls. I know I've been a little out of control lately, but thank you. I just wanted to point out a few things regarding the zoning board meeting. There were quite a few people who spoke against the rezoning, the blanket rezoning. Most of those people did not even live on LaGrange Road. I think their biggest fear was, as they spoke, that people would be buying up these single-family homes on LaGrange Road, demolishing them, and then building huge two families or whatever. However, there are building codes, so that hugeness, I don't think, would fit the explanation of what they were trying to say. And I'm very curious as to how many single-family homes have been demolished on LaGrange Road since the 1960s. that were turned into multifamily units. We're here tonight. We want to stay fresh with this. We want to urge the board to please not forget about us. And I don't think the decision has been made yet because it's not until, I think, July or June or whatever. But we're pleading that you remember that this is a financial issue for us, and we are the 42%. I'm sure if the 58% had a financial issue, they would be in here too. So I'm just pleading and I'm begging with the board to put yourself in our shoes and say, oh, I'm ready to retire this year. Oh, sorry, I can't sell my property. Can't refinance my property. I can't get a reverse mortgage either because of the lending issues. So thank you, board, for having me tonight. I love LaGrange Park, and please help us. We need your help. This is a undue burden on us. This is a very unusual circumstance, and I'm asking, how fast track can we go on this? I know that there's issues with the state that have to be taken care of, but this is vital for us. So please don't forget about us. And I hope you vote for the blanket. If you don't, what's the next procedure? Let's fast track it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann.
Pat Cassidy, 338 North Grange Road. I just want to echo what Mary Ann said. Thanks for the work done. I mean, it didn't work out for my mother-in-law, who was one of the one-offs. That's another issue. That's a financial hardship we've already suffered because of that, and we understand the issues, but I think one of my points is that the idea of making the zoning change on the Grange Road was to change the complexion of the gateway to the Grange Park. And I don't think it's changed since 2011. I'm not tearing my house down. The next door neighbor's not changing his house, whatever. It just, and one thing I wanted to mention, the two flats are a part of the Grange Park. They've been since the turn of the century. And just today, one of our tenants who's been with us for 3 years, mother with 2 children, who could not afford to buy in LaGrange Park, is looking at a house in LaGrange and LaGrange Park. Of course, I told her, oh, like you live down the street. She likes this area. Hopefully LaGrange Park wins out, but it's not so bad that if she gets a house in LaGrange. But that's kind of the service we provide, is to let young people get into this village, because it's harder and harder. My kids, they can't buy a house. I mean, they're living in apartments now and they can't, but I guess that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Pat.
Hello, Jill Millsap, 504 North LaGrange Road. And I echo everything that Mary Ann said. It is, right now, we're not experiencing any kind of hardship that it's been zoned R1 from R2. However, should we ever want to sell, it appears that that would be an issue. Again, 42% of the properties out of the 109 properties that are affected along the Grange Road are 2-family properties, and it's been like that for a very long time. Now, our land use and ability to be able to use our property in general is being affected, which is not fair on us, 42%. In listening to everyone that was here the other night for the public hearing, I understand that they don't want, as Mary Ann said, big companies coming in and turning single families into 2 units or more. Again, she's right, there's rules for that here in LaGrange Park, but there was also no solid reason offered by people for a single family R1 zone for not being part of R2, because it encompasses both the single family and the 2 units like we are. It is, for me right now, it's not a financial burden, but should we ever want to sell, we are hindered greatly in being able to sell, which is not fair for us. Also, I don't think, and I agree with what they were saying, I don't see, and I've been here for a very long time, I don't see very many homes being knocked down and turned into 2 flats or even 2-family units. We have what we have along the Grange Road, and it's been like that for a very long time. what's been purchased has been rehabbed to what it was before. I mean, you could point out the properties in LaGrange Road, they're single family, they were rehabbed, they're single family still. I too urge the board to reconsider what the zoning committee has said. I think it would benefit us greatly to be able to be rezoned to R2. And there's no benefit or there's no disadvantage to the R1 single-family homes in being encompassed under R2 zoning. And I also agree with Mary Ann, if we could somehow fast-track this to see what's going to happen and figure out what our next steps are should you not proceed with rezoning, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. And to all of you, I guess I'm sorry, go ahead.
Brian Stock, 933 North LaGrange Road. I also echo their sentiments. Also, from a single family and a multifamily ownership perspective, there is also a benefit to single family owners that the multifamilies are, from an economical perspective, zoned R2, because that allows those properties to get the true value available to them, which helps the increase of the values of all properties on that strip. And traditionally, duplexes are really a gateway for usually owners that want to live in one and rent out the other unit, which usually has to be a track of traditional financing, so either an FHA loan or a conventional loan, and not an investment style loan, which would require 25% or more down. Which is a burden on most investors or most people that want to purchase at this time, especially at the values that some of those properties could go for. So an R2 would really have a beneficial impact to all the property owners on that route. And for looking at the historical view of how those properties have been and what has happened to them, and the facts seem that that there hasn't been any sort of negative hardship on any of those property owners up until this most latest change, which was also echoed by the chair of the zoning committee who had been on the original in the board during the original change and admitted that there was some oversight because of the lack of ability to foresee some of the consequences of those adjustments. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Anyone else? Well, we really do appreciate your group is the one that brought it forward to this board, and this board cares about all of our residents, and we understand the hardship that has been presented, and we're willing to work through that. I'm not sure fast track is a good word that I'd like to use, but there's a process that we follow, and we want to make sure that that process is followed appropriately so that when we do make the decision that we're not creating another hardship for someone else and we're lifting any hardships that may be imposed upon our residents. So we just want to make sure we do the right thing and everybody is happy and satisfied and there's no burden on anyone. So please bear with us. We will never forget about this. It's on the front desk of our staff. They're working on it every day, receiving phone calls and working very diligently in bringing information to the board so that when we do discuss it, we do make the right decision and for everyone. So please have some patience with us. But we will follow a process and get it going as appropriately according to our schedule and when it's being brought forward to the board. So any information, any questions, I know you've been calling the staff and getting information and giving information. I encourage you to continue to do that. Anything new comes forward, please let the staff know because we're going to rely on them to bring all that information to the board. But really, thank you all for coming out, and we understand what you're going through, and we're here to care for all of you, so bear with us a little bit. Anyone else? Any new business? Motion to move into executive session.
I make a motion to move into executive session for the purpose to discuss the following. 1, the selection of person to fill a village commission committee according to 5 ILCS 120/2 C3, not to return to open session until our next scheduled meeting and a work session on May 8th.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Amanda, call the roll.
Trustee Messick?
Yes.
Trustee Rocco?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Casera?
Yes.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
We'll move into executive session.